Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is the Wealth Building Educator again, coming to you with another video. This is actually going to be a reaction video of a reaction video. So this is going to be the first time I've done one of those, but I'm definitely looking forward to it. Today, we're going to highlight our favorite financial guru, Dave Ramsey, as he does a reaction video to Mr. Steve Harvey. So let's go ahead and dive into it. Before we do that, I hope that you hit the like and subscribe button on my channel and share the content. We are trying to drop at least 1 or 2 videos every week, and we're trying to build the channel. We're close to 800 subscribers. My goal is to get to 1,000 subscribers in the next month. So please go ahead and support the channel and continue to do so if you've been one of the loyal subscribers from the beginning. And before we get started, I also want to mention that we are headed into 2022, and now is the perfect time for you to check your net worth so that you can track to see how you are doing heading into 2023. If you have any questions, as always, you can definitely reach out to me and comment in the section below. So, hey, let's go ahead and get started on this Dave Ramsey video. I think this one is going to be fun.
This is crazy because this is on national television, and it was a very popular show. I don't know if it still is, but it's out there. Family Feud, long-running show. And as you know, there's different families. They feud against each other, hence the name Family Feud.
I haven't watched it since Richard Dawson was the host.
Wow. What was that, the 60s? When was that?
I think he's dead now. And there's a new guy hosting it, right?
Yes, Steve Harvey.
Oh, yeah.
You know him. So Steve Harvey's hosting this show, and one of the contestants that's a part of this family, the question was all about a milestone.
I'm going to say this. It looked like Dave is already throwing shade his way, but we'll go ahead and continue to see what he has to say.
We'd love to achieve.
Let's play the clip.
Let's play it. Play that, James.
Give me a milestone people achieve they can be proud of.
Well, one day, I would like to have no debt.
Yes.
So before Steve even says anything, let me just basically applaud this young man for having the goal of having no debt. You know, I made that goal with my family, and we achieved that about 4 years ago. And I'll be honest when I tell you that there's no better feeling than being debt-free. It's an amazing feeling. It's a freeing feeling. So for him to be that mature to the point where that's one of his main goals, I definitely applaud him for that.
That's not going to happen. Debt is okay. OPM, other people's money, is how you get rich. You use other people's money, not yours.
Okay, so without even listening to Dave Ramsey's reaction to this particular comment or these particular comments that Steve Harvey has made, let me just say that I do have an issue where Steve Harvey says that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen is too, you know, it's too extreme to me. He is telling this young man that he's not going to be debt free. And there are millions of people out there who, like myself, regular people who are debt free and who have gone down that journey and who are successful with that journey. So just to tell him that he's not going to be debt free is disappointing, to say the least. But the other things he's saying, talking about using other people's money to attain wealth, I have zero problem with that. The only thing that we need to understand, and anybody else who is listening needs to understand, is that, you know, when you open yourself up to using other people's money, then you also open yourself up to potentially going deep into debt and becoming, you know, bankrupt, as has happened with me and people like Dave Ramsey and millions of other people worldwide. So, yeah.
That's how you get rich.
Once again, you know, that's an absolute, right? So to say that using other people's money is how you get rich, to me, is incorrect. There's plenty of people who are building wealth by simply, you know, investing in index funds and ETFs and things like that, without necessarily using other people's money to obtain real estate, or whatever else you would need other people's money, to borrow other people's money to attain wealth. So far, I'm not the biggest fan of what he's saying. I think that anybody could be debt free. And I also think that you could become rich without using other people's money.
Dave, I want to punch something, and you're the closest thing next to me, and so I'm going to refrain.
Here's the thing. If you're a game show host, that's cool. But you probably ought to just host the game show and not give out financial advice, for one thing. The second thing you shouldn't do is give out financial advice if you're $25 million in debt to the IRS.
You just airing out some laundry here, Dave?
I'm just saying, when you Google Steve Harvey, you find out he's $25 million in debt to the IRS. So if you're $25 million in debt to the IRS, when it comes to money advice, you should shut up. You really should not open your yap.
I didn't know Steve Harvey was $25 million in debt to the IRS. That's very concerning.
And on top of that, be a dream killer for a young guy.
Yeah.
That's what gets you on this show. If you want to just be stupid and $25 million in debt to the IRS and have your little game show, that's fine. But when you're a dream killer and you rile George up, that'll get you on this show.
Listen, here's the thing. Steve Harvey is a celebrity. He's a media mogul. He makes his money in a lot of ways. This young guy...
Being funny.
Yeah.
Is where he makes his money. So try that.
But to dole
more
out
often, and you won't be $25 million in debt.
This idea that this guy's debt is a bad thing to pay off because it's other people's money, and therefore it's good debt. And this is how you build wealth.
It just occurred to me. Steve Harvey is using other people's money. Mine.
Your money.
And yours. We're taxpayers. He hasn't paid his tax bill. $25 million worth. He is using OPM.
There you are. Dave figured it out. You're
followed his own advice.
This is crazy.
He's living the dream. Use OPM. Let's use the taxpayers' money. Don't pay our taxes. $25 million in debt.
I would love to see Steve host a financial show and they call and say, Steve,
real quick, I don't know the truth behind whether or not Steve Harvey is actually $25 million in debt to the IRS. If he's truly $25 million in debt to the IRS, that is highly concerning. And, maybe he shouldn't be given financial advice. But at the same time, there are various reasons to why people can fall into debt with the IRS. Smaller people that make way less than Steve Harvey might be $5,000 into IRS debt. They might owe $10,000 to the IRS. Steve Harvey allegedly owes $25 million to the IRS. So clearly that's quite a bit of money. And I would ask the question why he would owe so much money to the IRS. And also to go back on something that this other gentleman, I think his name is George, said, he basically is kind of tearing down a young man's dream, kind of similar to what I said earlier. So yeah, I wasn't a fan of what Steve Harvey said, and I'm surprised that he has so much debt to the IRS allegedly.
I'd love to pay off my debt. Can you tell me how? And he goes, well, you got to get more debt, man. You're doing great. Keep it up. You're not quite there yet.
I can free up some cash flow for you. Don't pay your taxes.
That's one way to do it. Not a way I'd recommend.
Hey, listen, Steve, we would have left you alone, brother. But you know what happened? You stepped on a young man's dream, and you walked over into our garden when you did it. And so a pruning is in order. So that's what you're experiencing, young man. Stay in your lane, brother, and you'll be okay with us. We love you. We think you're funny. We think you're a great guy. Don't be a dream killer, though.
Yeah. And if that contestant is listening, I want you to call us up because we will actually help you.
Actually, we'll give them a free subscription for a year to Ramsey Plus so they can get into Financial Peace University and we'll get them out of debt.
I will
We're quite
personally...
the opposite of a dream killer.
Yeah. I want to see that.
We're like a Make-A-Wish Foundation. We're on the other side of dream killer.
If anyone contacts me and I'm their one Make-A-Wish, they've led a sad life, Dave. Hopefully they have bigger dreams than
I wasn't saying you were the Make-A-Wish. I said we're going to let them make a wish when it comes to being wealthy. We're going to help them get there.
Oh, okay. That's different.
George, it was not personal.
I thought you meant their wish would be to hang out with me.
Well, it could be. It could happen.
Thanks, Dave.
We can aspire to that.
Dave's not a dream killer.
I'm not a dream. I'm going to let you live your dream, George.
But hey, listen, if you're out there listening, you're part of the Skeepers family that was on the Family Feud, hit me up. I will personally financially coach you because our friend Steve didn't do a good job of that.
Well, yeah. Condescending dream killer.
Man,
Well, ain't gonna happen.
not gonna happen. Sounds a
Use
lot like
OPM.
Elon.
OPM, other people's money. Use the taxpayers' money.
Now, Dave, I think what he's referring to
You
here,
know, if Steve calls us up, we'll help him with his tax debt.
if
We'll
Steve
show him how
calls
to
us
pay it
up,
off. We'll
it's
give him a
gonna
debt
be,
snowball with the IRS going.
I'll give him a
A
free
lot of
membership
shade.
to Ramsey
They're
Plus.
throwing a lot of
How's that?
shade
Give
his
him a debt
way.
snowball because then, you know, I mean, he would actually help the general deficit with 25 million being repaid.
That is true.
Because the deficit.
I think he's repaid. I've got the article
Did
here.
he repay it?
It sounds like he
Oh, he worked his way out of it. Look
yeah,
at that. He
got
did.
he had a few big deals come through.
Oh, wow.
A few big deals came through, and he
So
got
he's not.
it done.
So he's not the cause of the current deficit, just the past deficit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, he's using that OPM principle pretty well, though.
Well, what it comes down to is he's saying you've got to leverage as much debt as possible, and that is the key to wealth building,
Yeah.
which is the antithesis to how you now.
How long is that clip, James? You know, off the top of your head.
Okay, so I'm gonna actually go ahead and stop this video. So what I noticed, what I realized just now is that Dave Ramsey used the fact that Steve Harvey allegedly had $25 million to disqualify him for being able to speak on, financial situation to give the young man financial advice. However, Dave Ramsey didn't do his research prior to reacting to the video, and he didn't know that Steve Harvey had paid off this debt. So that honestly should have never come into the conversation. To me, I personally don't think that should have come into the conversation because he does not owe $25 million to the IRS. Whatever happened in the past, he got it taken care of prior to Dave Ramsey bringing it up. So I just, personally think that that's somewhat being messy, right? So it sounds like it might be some kind of personal spat that these guys have had in the past. I don't know if it's a one-way issue that Dave Ramsey has with Steve Harvey, or if it's, bilateral. I'm not 100% sure, but it definitely sounds like something personal. Just the way that it seems like Dave Ramsey attacked him, especially bringing up a debt that he does not owe. I just think that's messy, in my opinion. If you disagree with me, I would definitely welcome a dialogue with you. But just to go back to the original comment that Steve Harvey made, he basically was what Dave Ramsey and George referred to as a dream killer. The young man said that he would like to be debt-free. Steve Harvey ultimately let the young man know that he won't be debt-free. And Steve Harvey said that you can use other people's money to become rich. And he insinuated that the only way to become rich is to use other people's money. And I have a huge issue with that. I totally have an issue with that. We do not over leverage ourselves. We only have mortgage debt. We are steadily building wealth by investing in index funds systematically and consistently. And we're not, using other people's money to do that. The only thing we have is a mortgage. We have about 8 years left on our 15-year mortgage. And that's how we are becoming rich. That's how we are building our wealth. Some people are very successful at leveraging other people's money and building wealth and becoming rich. There are others who have faltered in that area. One thing that I definitely know is true is that you will necessarily plead bankruptcy if you are not in debt. There's no reason you're not filing bankruptcy against debt if you have no debt. So you're definitely playing a dangerous game when you do over leverage yourself, because that's ultimately why people end up pleading bankruptcy when things go wrong. And a lot of time things do go wrong. You might have the best laid plans and they don't always go the way that you believe that they're going to go. So I just have an issue with Steve Harvey, his delivery to the young man. I don't know if he did it again, if he would change the way he said it, or if he actually believes that. I don't know if it's shock value or what, while you're on a television show. Obviously, we're talking about it now. People probably have uploaded that episode. People are probably gonna go back and watch it just to see exactly the context of what he said. So I completely disagree with Steve Harvey there. I completely agree with Dave Ramsey when he talks about, people being able to build wealth without using other people's money. So a few things could be true at one time. Steve Harvey can be correct when he says that you can leverage other people's money in order to become rich. But he can also be incorrect by assuming and insinuating that that is the only way for you to become rich. And I strongly disagree when he states that the young man cannot or won't be debt free, and just to accept your fate as it is. Just accept the fact that you're going to be drowning in debt the rest of your life. And I'm a perfect example of that. So I highly disagree with Steve there. I'm not going to beat Dave Ramsey up in this particular video. I agree with 90% of what he said. I thought it was basically a low blow to bring up a $25 million debt that Steve Harvey no longer owes to the IRS. You know, what if somebody said that Dave Ramsey is not qualified to speak on financial advice because he once pled bankruptcy? So we all can judge others, and we all can say things that we want to say, you know, to build our argument. And there, I thought that was a low blow that Dave gave. And, you know, I think that otherwise he made some really good points. And I tend to be in his camp when he talks about debt freedom. You know, I believe that there is nothing like not having that weight of debt on your shoulders. Once you are debt free, it is super freeing, as I said earlier, and you can basically do whatever you want to do. And as I've always stated, the day I became debt free, the day my family became debt free, it was like we are no longer going to work for the bank. We were working for our family. So, hey, I really appreciate you. If you had the opportunity to check out the entire video, please like this video, share the video, and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already, and check out previous content. I look forward to continuing to have these conversations with you all regarding money. Thank you for your support. You all take it easy.